Welcome everybody to another episode of League One on the Rocks. My name is Rich. You can find me on Twitter at I'm Rich, but I'm not. Joined by the man who is going solo with a new podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Mediocre Ace. Brian, how's it going, man?
Oh, not too bad, Rich. Yeah, I wasn't able to make the show last week, but decided, I wanted to get a solo project out as well. And so if you guys haven't seen it yet, it is the name of it is Owl Inn. Tried to play off the Union Omaha only podcast. I won't be talking about the league. That's still reserved for you and I to talk about. So I'm going to try to keep it regular, but between job, kids, our show, which I want to keep my primary focus. It may be a little bit more sporadic, but I will do my best to put a show out every week as well.
But with as much as people love hearing your takes on everything, they're going to soak up every single episode you throw out there. So you know it's going to be accepted with open arms.
Yeah, it's out there on YouTube right now. I'm still working on getting it sent out to the podcast directories and everything like that. So that's also a work in progress at this time, but be on the lookout for it. So
That's cool. Well, we want to give a big shout out to Tim over at Ranting Blue Penguin Media, who filled in last week, did a fantastic job. Make sure you go find him with his Ranting Blue Penguin Media, with his Who Gives a Hoot stuff that he does, with his Beyond the 90s stuff, with the Cup. I mean, the guy's everywhere. So just go find his stuff, read it, support him. I don't know. Yeah, just support the guy.
yeah, I mean it's not hard to find. There's so many places you can find his work, and I just want to say as well, Tim, thank you for jumping in on short notice. I didn't give Rich much notice for me not being on the show, so we really appreciate you coming on and honestly just completely taking over the rant. I mean, it was perfect. Brought
It
the
was,
energy.
yeah, it was a good rant too. We got some good feedback on that rant too. There were quite a few people who really liked it.
I mean, I was one of them.
Yeah.
And Tim already in the live chat saying happy to help. Help. Sorry, my pick sucked. Hey man, this ain't no thing. Ain't
No
worried
need
about it.
Yeah, no need to apologize. Mine were worse, so we're all good.
Hey man, we all know how this league works. It, you can never get it 100% right. Nobody will ever get it 100% right. So
Yeah.
it's definitely an ebbs and flows kind of thing.
There you go. Well, before we get jumped into any of the league news, got to keep the tradition alive. So what are you drinking tonight?
So I went grocery shopping after work today, and I have never tried. It's not alcoholic, but uh, Liquid Death, the berry it alive. I've never had the berry flavor of this. I'm usually not a fan of sparkling water, but it's not bad.
I had never had sparkling death, or what is that? What's it called?
Liquid Death.
Liquid death. I'd never had that until I moved down here. And yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't expect it to be non-alcoholic, but yeah,
Uh,
it's water.
yeah, and it tastes like a seltzer. That's the crazy thing about it. Like I feel like I'm drinking an alcoholic seltzer, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, like you, I'm going with water, but I'm going with Dasani. Just keeping it simple. It has been a long day. I am very tired, so the last thing I should be doing right now is filling up with some alcohol. So certainly not going to be imbibing tonight either. I feel like I've gone 3 or 4 shows now without drinking, and it's making me realize how much I don't drink as much as I used to.
Yeah. I mean it's tough, man. When you get just a little bit older and you kind of especially being as busy as you are, I can't imagine there's even a whole lot of time to get that in your day. So,
Yeah.
I don't blame you on that one.
Well, we can jump straight into league news. First bit of league news was coming out of Spokane because they defeated Chivas under 23 squad that came for an international friendly by a final score of 2-1.
Yeah. I mean, that is the big story for me. I did not expect this outcome. It's the outcome that I wanted. but it was not the outcome I expected at all. Um, and, Spokane has quietly become one of those teams that's going to kind of sit in that zone where you don't really know what they're going to do week to week, but more often than not, they've been putting out strong performances. So just capped off by a very good win against a very good Chivas under 23 team.
Yep, totally agree. And it looked like there was a strong attendance as well as good atmosphere from all the sights and sounds that we were seeing from social media.
Yeah, and I mean that shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, or really. I mean, Spokane came in strong in their first home match and has continued to bring it every week. So, uh, not surprised, but very, very happy to see another team in the league being this successful this early on.
Yep. And we go from the West Coast over to the East Coast, where Westchester Soccer Club revealed their crest and brand identity.
Yeah, I like the colors a lot. That gold and blue looks really good. As far as the crest itself, I feel like that might be a little on the safe side. I do like it. I think it is nice looking, but to me, I think there's a whole lot more you could have done being in New York. But still, my opinion, classy logo, great color scheme. So I'm not mad at it.
Yeah. When I look at this, the first thing that comes to mind is uh that it makes me think of like a 70s high school gym outfit logo that you would see on it.
I see that. I like that.
But I mean, I haven't seen any of the indicators with any sort of explanation behind the shield or the brand and everything. So I don't know what sort of subtle Easter eggs we're looking at here. Like when you look at the Alta FC stuff
Mm-hmm.
with the B2 and the poppy fields and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what sort of Easter eggs we're looking at when we look at this. So the only thing that I'm seeing when I look at this is just that what I just said, the gym outfit logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of seems like in the background picture they have up there is that bridge, and it maybe is kind of a nod to that bridge. If anybody from this area is listening and wants to enlighten us, I'm not quite sure what that bridge exactly is, what it takes you into or out of. So I don't know the significance of it, but I think maybe there might be a little bit of a nod to that as well.
Yeah. Tim coming in saying the almost but not quite a circle thing. They've already played or they're already playing head games. So yeah,
Yeah, it is not quite a circle, isn't it? It's not quite an oval and not quite a circle.
yeah,
Huh. Good pickup, Tim. I would not have picked that one out.
yeah.
That's going
And
to
then we
bug me
also
now.
had some news coming out of Richmond because they unveiled their alt kit, um, a black kit with thin red lines with the kickers logo and the swim RVA logo on the front. I like it. I think it looks clean.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. That is a sharp kit. And now that I'm looking at it a little bit closer again as well, my initial thought was I would have liked to see the kangaroo instead of the Kickers logo, but now that I see the Kickers logo on it, I think that they made the right choice there. I think that fits really well.
Yeah. Maybe they were looking for as much contrast as they could to like as a subtle nod to everybody, like, hey, now you can read the names on the back. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah, as long as you can read everything on the kit, that's a good step up from last season. So,
Well, moving on from kits and brand reveals and all that kind of stuff, we had some international call ups. We had, oh man, we have a lot of them. We had, oh man, we had three out of Central Valley. We had two out of Northern Colorado, one from Omaha, one from Lexington, one from One Knox. Some of these players are even going to be playing each other in these World Cup qualifiers. We have some CONCACAF matches happening. We have um, the we have the matches with the Africa qualifiers. We also have a international friendly. So, I mean, there's a lot of action happening here. Um, it's really cool to see as many players as we're seeing getting called up to international duty.
Yeah, and a lot of them are they're players that you know, but also players that may not be out and out starters day in and day out on these teams. So that is really surprising, but in a good way for me. I think that shows kind of the growth of the league that you have these players that might not even be starting for the teams that they're playing on, but are coming off the bench and adding big numbers and big time in, and they're getting international call ups. I don't think we saw, I mean, I know we didn't see this many international call ups in the first few seasons of the league, and I think even less so of bench players getting call ups. I think this has been a huge year for growth for League One, which is really exciting to see.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the ones that I wanted to talk about here was what was it? Oh, it was Deshaun Nemhard. He's going to be playing up against Emmanuel Gomez. So teammates over at Fuego when Belize takes on Nicaragua in Group D of the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. They actually go up against that match is on Saturday, June 8th. So that one's tomorrow. Yeah.
Yep.
And it made me laugh because it made me think of that Ted Lasso episode where, um, oh, Danny played against Zoho or the goalkeeper, Van Dam or Jean
Mm-hmm.
Claude Van Damme. He like changed his name to Jean Claude Van Damme or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I remember they celebrated the players getting called up, and then he went over to shake Danny's hand, and Danny said, "We're not bros. We are enemies now." It was just so funny.
See, that's the mentality you got to take into it, though, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're up in your national team. You're not friends when you're playing for your country. You are opponents. So that's funny. I really hope we get a camera angle that shows them those two meeting up before and after the match.
pretty cool. Well, moving on from international call-ups, we can go straight into the Week 10 recap here. Themes coming out of the weekend. Madison made a case for being the best bird in the league as they became the last club standing, remaining undefeated in the regular season on the back of Christian Cheney's brace against Lexington. We also had Tormenta's Mason Tunbridge going super scion on Charlotte's defense and scores in the late stages of the match to earn a draw on the road. One Knox slipped up at home against Richmond and makes Red Pandas cry everywhere. And then Omaha's Warner Park looked to shrink the field into a boxing ring as things got intense under the stadium lights. And then Greenville found their kryptonite, and his name is Siobhan Marsh, who scored twice and added an assist to lead the Red Wolves to their first victory in Greenville.
Yeah,
So some good storylines.
yeah, very much so. This was a really good week for storylines.
Yeah. Well, match number one, Ford Madison hosting Lexington Sporting Club. Just over 4,500 fans inside Bree Stevens Field.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be expected, honestly. I mean, you go up to a match in Madison, you expect at least 4K attendance every single match. So another good one on them there.
Especially on a great night like Pride Night. You know they're going to have a lot of people show up for that one.
Yeah, as they should. And I mean, promotion nights in Madison, name two things that go better together, and I bet you can't. I mean, Madison does their promotions right, and I'm sure this one was no exception.
Yep. And most of the action took place in the first half, but the drama wasn't entirely contained to the first half as there was a late goal in, I mean, even in extra time, the second half. Um, Christian Cheney got his brace off. Well, he was assisted by Derek Gebhardt in the first one, unassisted in the second goal. And I don't know, man. He's one week he's providing all the assists, the next week he's providing the goals. I mean, this guy just doesn't stop.
Yeah, I think we have really found the Christian Cheney that Madison bought from Fuego. I think this is what they saw, and this is the exact player that they had envisioned when they brought him on. Um, I mean, you can't say enough about this guy this season. He has, I mean, I know I talked about it the last time I was on the show, so that was 2 weeks ago that he was kind of growing into that facilitator. And exactly what you said, Rich. I mean, he came back and showed I don't just facilitate goals, I score goals as well. I mean, this is his fifth goal in all competitions. Um, 2 goals in the Open Cup and 1 goal in the Jagermeister Cup and 2 in the regular season now. So he is rounding into form, and that's going to be tough sledding for the rest of the teams in League One because we all know what Christian Cheney can do when he starts rolling.
And those stats just go for his first goal of the night. His second goal
Yeah.
gave him the sixth goal across all competitions. So I mean, he's really racking up those numbers.
Yeah.
That tied him with Devin Boyce to be the club's leading scorer in the regular season.
Yeah. I mean, 6 goals coming in with, I mean, a third of the way through the season. That ain't bad at all, especially with a condensed regular season. That's going to come in big.
Yeah. And then Balogun converts the penalty kick for Lexington in midway through the second half, and John Murphy Jr. Um, gets his second goal of the regular season and across all competitions in extra time of the second half, assisted by Juan Galindres. That was also his second assist of the regular season and all competitions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one, Madison got Lexington down early, and were the thing I thought was really interesting is they didn't pull up really at all. They kept their foot on the gas and kept moving the ball and trying to get more goals. And I think that really comes through in that 4-1 score line. But um, I'm sure they would have wanted to keep a clean sheet. But I mean, penalty kicks are what did Tim say last week? 80% or something like that convert
Yeah.
rate for the kicker. So, um, yeah, that's always tough to to try to come back from too. So, 4-1 scoreline though. I mean, it's regular season, so goals matter a little bit less than they do in the Jagermeister Cup, but nonetheless, padding a goal differential is never a bad thing, even if it's not your first tiebreaker.
Yep. Tim coming in saying, are there any non-promotion nights in Madison? I mean, even in the off season, there are no non-promotion nights in Madison. We've even talked about nights where they had multiple promotions for a single match. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they never stop.
No, no, and I mean, if you're good at something, why not? Why not just keep it rolling? You know,
Yeah.
and it's working for them. I mean, over 4,000 fans. I'm sure most clubs in the league would kill to have 4,000 fans at all their home matches. So
Hmm.
they Madison has definitely found a culture that embraces soccer and a culture that embraces fun because I don't think I've seen one boring promotion come out of Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I agree. Well, going back to the action on the field, with Madison's victory, they became the last remaining undefeated club in the regular season. Also, because of the results that we're going to be talking about later on this evening, they are also undefeated in their last 5 matches. They remain undefeated versus Lexington at home. And then the news isn't so great when you look at Lexington. So I'm sorry, Lexington fans, go ahead and plug your ears for this moment here. It extends an ongoing streak of never earning a clean sheet on the road in club history across all competitions. They have also now conceded the first goal of the match in their last 7 away matches, and this result makes the club winless in their last 5 regular season matches. Their last win came in week 2 when they defeated Chattanooga 1-0.
Uh, I mean, what more can you say about the fortunes of two teams? I think preseason Lexington was a very strong favorite to win the league. I think Madison was a very strong middle of the pack team. And my how those thoughts have completely 180'd. Um, it is it's really crazy for me to see that Lexington has never earned a clean sheet on the road in club history. That is a shocking stat,
Yeah.
and even more so. I mean, it makes sense when you look at the next one of having your first goal in 7 away matches. You go on the road and you give up the first goal. That's a big mountain to try to climb back up, especially with teams in this league having such a strong attendance number and kind of supporter culture around. I know there's a ton of teams in this league that just once they pounce on you, the fans are relentless. So that's going to make it difficult. But you turn around and you look at Madison. I mean, what more can you really say? The only undefeated club left, undefeated in their last 5, and they've never lost to Lexington at home. I mean, that is a business-like victory if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. And we've seen themes from Talk and Flock where they keep throwing out the idea we're not used to being undefeated. We're not used to being this winning side that we are. Like, what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to think? What are we like? How are we supposed to
Yeah.
live our life in this new era?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, for how much smack I've talked about Madison in the past, I have gotten nothing back on me about it, and I'm a little shocked. I guess Madison fans are a little bit more. I don't want to say classy. I don't think classy is the word, but I think Madison fans are content just to let their victories speak for them. So I do appreciate that. And now that I've said that, I'm sure the gates have been opened for the hate to start flowing. So,
Yep.
but I'll take it because I put myself out there.
Yep. You set yourself up for that one. Get your popcorn, folks, because here it comes. Well, when it comes to the predictions, the fans, Tim, myself, we were all correct with our predictions. We all had Madison winning. Nobody had the exacto. I would say Tim was closest because he had 3-2 and we ended up with a 4-1 victory. So Tim was closest, but not quite on the bullseye.
Yep.
So yeah, we had all 3 correct on that one. Moving to the next match from Saturday night, we have Charlotte hosting Tormenta, beach party night inside the stadium there, and played in front of 935 fans.
Yeah. So we go from one of the better attended matches in the league to not one of the better attended matches in the league. I I don't know, man. I think Beach Party Night is my second favorite one I've ever seen. As far as non, obviously, like the Pride ones are always my favorite, and the Unified series are also tied up there for my 2 favorite promotion nights. But I think Beach Party Night, maybe I'm just thinking with my Twitter profile page, but Beach Party Night sounds awesome. And just putting it out there, Union Omaha, you throw a Beach Party Night, I'll show up in the same outfit. Just throwing it out there.
You are opening another door, man. Chris Johnson coming in the live chat saying, Brian, careful with your words. And I got to agree with her because, look, if you want to do beach party night inside Werner Park, you know that the sand jokes are coming.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think you just lean into it, and I think
Yeah.
you fill the berm with sand and just chill out on the berm with sand.
Yep. Tim coming in saying, yes, let the hate flow through you. Following it up with, hey, I can't see behind the heart there.
Omaha, don't coast.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. Well, anyways, getting back to the match. Charlotte took an early lead in the first half in the 23rd minute with Obregon getting his fourth goal of the regular season, eighth goal across all competitions. He has 2 goals in the Jägermeister Cup, and he had 2 goals in the Open Cup. He is the current leading scorer in the regular season, Jägermeister Cup, and US Open Cup, uh, all combined for Charlotte this season. So we've been talking about Obregon being the leading man for that club, and turns out there's the facts. Yes, he is the leading man for Charlotte. You should probably mark up on him.
Yeah. Um, and honestly, but you'd look and see who got the assist. It's Oberton. So who do you pick out in that? I mean, I think it's kind of it'll kill you one way or the other. I mean, two guys that can get the job done, and you got to pick your poison. I think right now you take your chances with Oberton over Obregon, but
Yeah.
um, I mean, Oberton can certainly turn it on as well. So I think Charlotte is starting to figure it out a little bit more. They're right on the cusp of something great, but they also have to get their defense figured out, which they did not in the 79th.
Yeah. I mean, to steal a quote from Thanos, I mean, Mason Tunbridge stands there on the field and says, fine, I'll do it myself. I mean, he goes through the Charlotte defense, evading defender after defender, getting into the box, even looking like he stumbled for a couple steps there just inside the top of the box too, and still able to get a shot off, and it goes low to the bottom corner and evens it up. Great goal from Tunbridge.
Yeah, I mean you can't say enough uh, about that goal. There's to be able to have the ball control to go through an entire defense the way he did, and falling over, still get the shot in on goal and score the goal. I mean, what do you say? I mean, like as a keeper or a defender, yeah, you probably should have gotten him in defense. One of the like 8 guys he went around should have got him in the defense, but I mean, he was determined to score, and obviously he scored. So I think at that point you just tip your hat and say, "All right, you got us."
Yep, exactly. Well, that goal from Tunbridge was his second of the regular season, third across all competitions, as he had a lone goal in the Jägermeister Cup. And that was also Callum Stretch's first assist of the season across all competitions.
Yeah, this Tormenta team, it there's so many glimpses of great things that they are the Lexington of last season, this season. And until they get it figured out, I'm going to continue to say this. They show great promise at points, but also show their weaknesses in other points. And both of them are abundantly clear when you watch this team. I think there's some things that definitely need to get sorted out amongst the players as far as what situations they need you in and what you do in those situations and what your teammates are going to do. I think from what I'm watching, it seems like an organizational, and I'm talking like positional organizational issue as opposed to a talent issue, because this roster is talented and they have the ability to do great things. That being said, they also went up against a very talented Charlotte team in this one. So, I mean, you knew what you were going to get out of Charlotte. They like to pass through the midfield, play through it, and stretch the field left to right on you, and that's exactly what they did. And Tormenta, for the most part, took care of business. And I mean, obviously, getting a point on the road is the second best thing that can happen. I know that's kind of like duh, but you if you get a point on the road and win your home matches, you're always in a good position come the end of the season. So you get a point on the road, that's all you can. That is the bare minimum that you can ask of a team going on the road, especially against a good team like Charlotte. So uh, fun match to watch. But I also think both of these teams have some things they need to get tweaked, and it could be a really interesting rest of the way once they figure out their stride here.
And I believe this was the third straight time that Charlotte and Tormenta have tied, gone with a 1-1 draw. Um, so they drew, yep, in the Jägermeister Cup, and Charlotte Independence went on to win on penalties 5-4.
Mm-hmm.
And then prior to that, it was a regular season match from last season. So yeah, three straight matches between Charlotte Independence and Tormenta has gone to a 1-1 draw.
Wow.
Which, if you're holding, look, Charlotte was runner up last season. So if you're going three straight matches against the runner up and you're drawing 1-1 each of those times, not only are you keeping them to a low score, but you're also able to earn a point against them. Like, hey, that's a result that's not worth complaining about. That
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And I mean, we've got um, a bloody punk in the chat saying fair take, tweak in the formation players in Charlotte. And then Luke Martin coming in as well saying Tormenta has a ton of road matches coming up in June and July. Yes, Tormenta is going to be tested coming up here very, very quickly. Going on the road as often as they are going to be is going to be a challenge. But then again, we've also talked about it on the show before. These road trips and long stretches away from home generally turn to help a team kind of get in sync with each other and get back to their heads in the right space to play off of each other. So this could be a blessing in disguise for Tormenta coming up here in this stretch in June or July.
Yep. Great to see Bloody Punk in the live chat. I don't know that have we ever had a Charlotte fan in the live chat?
Don't believe we have.
Yeah, so welcome to the fun.
We also
Ooh,
got
we got Soup Loops coming in here now. We got
Soup Loops.
Tormenta joining the fray. Obviously, Luke Martin's in there too. So Soup Loops coming in saying Tormenta has been better on the road for at least the past 2 years. So we'll see. Oh, a Bloody Punk is a Tormenta fan. All right, there we go. Three straight Tormenta fans right there. Gotta love that.
All right. You're outnumbering the Omaha fans right now, which is
Yeah,
I don't think that's something we've had before. So there you go. Tormenta.
there we go.
Yeah, I've got the scarf sitting right back here as well.
Yeah, yep. You're showing some love too. All
Yes.
right, well, moving on to One Knox hosting Richmond. This one was one that I was excited to see, not only for the action on the pitch, but also because of the Red Panda kit reveal night, because that's an exciting theme in and of itself.
Yeah, it's
Um,
so cool.
but Richmond comes in, kind of rains on the parade a little bit with a 2-1 final victory, with goals from Chandler O'Dwyer and an own goal from Sean Lewis. That's a rare one.
Yeah. Crazy to see because we speak his praises every single week, right? We know how good Sean Lewis is. But sometimes, the cards just they don't play in your favor. And I feel like this week there was a lot of there was a lot of amazing plays by goalies, but it seemed like there was a lot of times where goalies kind of struggled a little bit in points of this. And unfortunately for Knoxville, this is one of those instances.
They did have the chance to get on the scoreboard and to even draw this match because in the 56th minute, They failed to convert a penalty kick as Richmond's Pablo Jara saved a penalty kick from Frank Ross. Then you go in the very next minute, and Kempis Tequila scores a goal for One Knox. So there's that opportunity there for One Knox to, sort of get a draw at home, but they weren't able to do so.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately for Richmond in this one, in the 82nd minute, a second yellow was issued to Neil Vigneault. That's going to be a heavy blow for him. Obviously, everybody knows what Vigneault can do on the pitch, so him having to sit out because of a red card the next match, that's tough. And if I am not mistaken, red cards in regular season carry over to Jagermeister Cup matches and vice versa, don't they?
Correct. Yep.
So yeah, their very next match that Richmond is going to be playing, they will be out without Neil Vigneault's services. So tough
And
stretch for him on
Richmond,
that one.
Richmond hosts Charlotte this week.
Ooh,
Oh, they really need him for that one too.
yeah, that's a tough one. But I mean, with the yellow cards, you got to play a little bit smarter. You can't give them anything. So
Yeah.
unfortunate, but
11, 11 yellow cards in this match.
jeez.
11. And this is not the only match that we saw this week with double digit yellow cards. We're
Mm-mm.
going to hit on some of those here coming up. But One Knox had 5 yellow cards. Richmond had 6. Obviously, one of those turned into a red card. But I mean, 11 yellow cards.
11
Man,
yellows and a single red. I mean, this was watching the match. It didn't seem that chippy. I think a lot of these were just, I don't know, that smart fouls is the word because you got carded for them, but there was a lot of fouls in this one that were just kind of like it could go either way. I mean, I see the ref's point on all of them, but at the same time, would I have done that many? Probably not. But I mean, kept it from getting out of hand, unlike another match that we will talk about later. But obviously, you got Richmond making, I mean, dare I say it, a statement win here? You go on the road, you beat Knoxville. I mean, that when you're struggling for confidence to go in and beat a solid team like Knoxville, that's a big win. So I'm really interested to see how this success moves into upcoming weeks. So it'll be they got a tough test coming up next, but maybe carry over some of this momentum. And on the flip side, you look at Knoxville, I think they probably came into this match expecting at least a draw at worst, which I would say fair play considering Richmond's struggles this season. But this just kind of shows that League One is one of those leagues where anybody can beat anybody. And where's the old adage, any given Sunday? We'll say any given Wednesday through, I guess, Sunday, because we do have Sunday matches. So any given Wednesday through Sunday in USL League One country, anybody can beat anybody.
yep. And they almost duplicated their score from the first time they met this season because they met on Friday, May 3rd with a 1-1 draw. And
Mm-hmm.
since that match, One Knox has only, yeah. Since then, they've only won 1 match in their next 4.
A little bit of kryptonite here.
Yeah. Won 1 and lost 3.
Oof.
So this is a One Knox team that one time we were talking about being a super hot team.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're starting to cool off a little bit. So it's weird to see them, dropping down in the last 5 rankings.
Yeah, I suppose it's kind of the ebbs and flows of the season. We generally see this every year. We'll see teams get real hot and then more often than not really cold and then hot again. So they do have some work to do to kind of rebuild some of that momentum that they had a few weeks ago. But the best way to do that is to play good defense. And fortunately for Knoxville, that's something that they do really well. So
Yep. Tim coming in saying on the yellow cards, the ref in that match was West Costa, American ref. Looks like he was a replacement ref for 3 matches in MLS, and he issued 6.33 yellow cards per match. Oof. So he's got a streak about him.
Mm, yes, I will. You know what? No, I won't keep that opinion to myself. I mean, what can you really expect with a scab referee? I mean, what bad refereeing, scab referees, same thing. So
Yeah. And this is the second straight match for this week where fans, Tim, myself, didn't get the prediction right. Obviously, I didn't have a chance to vote for Tormenta in the previous match against Charlotte, but here we are. Man, second straight match where none of us got it right. We
I
all
mean,
had one Knox win in this one.
I mean, if you went just based on kind of feel, I see it. I would have made that same call myself, so I would have lost this one as well. But um, yeah, Richmond comes out, and full credit to them. They got it done.
Yeah. Yep. I'm looking up something here really quick. With that victory over one Knox, Richmond has 2 straight wins over one Knox and then over Tormenta. In their last 5, they are 2-1-2, having lost to Greenville and Chattanooga, and then drawing against one Knox.
Solid.
Yeah. Well, moving on to the next match, we had Omaha hosting Northern Colorado. So we go from one match that had double-digit yellow cards to a match where things boiled over and there was actually an altercation in this one.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to hear your take on that because I was able to read some things and see some things, but I want to get your take on that. But before we do, promo night for this one was Night of Champions. It was a scarf giveaway in front of just under 4,000 fans inside Warner Park.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah,
lot of
that's
action just to close out the first half. I think that's when the altercation was too, wasn't it?
yeah. The altercation started on the field. Omaha scores first in the 45th plus 5 minute. Pedro Dolabella. Obviously, dude's been on a tear recently. Just another one of those matches for him. But in the 45th plus 7, a second yellow issued to Rodriguez. He deserved it. Um, the tackle was I reckless doesn't really put it in the right context. It was a stupid tackle. But then arguing about it was even dumber. Obviously, you can't argue something like that. And it's kind of been I don't want to say pet peeve, but it's been something I've noticed about Omaha is they have quite a few players picking up yellow cards in situations, and a lot of players that like to talk to the referee after they're carded. Just something to look out for as the season progresses. Yellow card accumulation is going to be a big deal, I think, for Omaha. But yeah, and I guess so. I didn't see the halftime. Is skirmish the right word? The halftime fireworks or skirmish, right? I was on the other side of the field. I heard about it secondhand, but there was some pushing and shoving in the tunnel. For those that don't know, and at Warner Park, both the teams go up the same ramp and come down the same ramp to get to the locker rooms. Apparently, there was a bit of an altercation in the the ramp leading up. They got it sorted out. No other cards to be issued on that one. But apparently, if you try to fight Northern Colorado, heading to the locker room, that just gives them the fire that they need, because in the 54th minute, they come out. Lucky Opara assists to Billy King to get Northern Colorado on the board, tie the match up. and then just I mean, what can you really say? I know Rich, you're a big fan of this guy, but Rendon, I mean, assisted by David Garcia, but just you can't say enough about the beauty of the run that he made. It was such a well-timed run that every single person in the entire park was screaming offside when it happened. I happened to be watching Rendon make his run and knew he was onside and knew as soon as he took that touch, he was putting the ball in the back of the net. He is too good not to do it. So I just put my head down. I didn't even watch the goal live. I knew it was coming. So with that, Northern Colorado takes the win, 2-1. Is something they desperately, desperately needed. But yeah, just a great performance from Northern Colorado.
And just like we were talking about with the One Knox and Richmond match, seeing 11 yellow cards, we saw 11 yellow cards in this match as well. 4 to Union Omaha, well, obviously one of them, or a pair of them resulting in a red card, and then 7 coming from Northern Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked up the team rankings for yellow cards. Union Omaha sits in third place at the moment with 24 yellow cards,
Who's in
and
first
Tormenta
place?
sits at the top with 27.
Oh, I mean, it's not that big. I mean, three yellow cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but those two teams you kind of expect to get to see quite a few yellows. Um, Kind of time has shown that those two are more heavily carded teams. So not shocked, but shocked at the number, honestly. 24 and 27 is that's a lot of yellow cards this early into a season.
Yeah. And with the victory over Union Omaha in Warner Park, that is the first time that Northern Colorado has ever claimed a victory inside the confines of Warner Park.
Yeah, I believe
Hmm.
it.
And so here's another stat. I didn't see this until Sunday when I was looking through some of the stats. With regards to the regular season matches at home for Union Omaha, there has not been a single goal scored at home where Pedro Dolabella and or Joe Gallardo were not involved in it on the stat sheet alone. So there have been 3 regular season home matches. There have been 5 goals scored at home. Joe Gallardo has 1 goal and 3 assists. Pedro Dolabella has 2 goals and 1 assist. And here's the kicker. Both of Pedro's goals were assisted by Joe Gallardo.
Yeah, those. I mean, I said it on Owl Inn yesterday, but Pedro Dolabella and Joe Gallardo are two key pieces to this Omaha team, and you can kind of see that with how often they have the ball in decision making areas. Both of them always have the ball in the final third of the pitch, so you can kind of tell. And I mean, it's crazy to see it put out there as a stat like that, but that's one of those stats that just you look at it and you go, yeah, that makes sense. There's no second thought about it. So yeah, I mean, it's those are two key pieces. Let's hope the injury bug doesn't bite Omaha this season like it has in seasons past. So
Yep. So earlier this week, when both Pedro and Joe were nominated for Player of the Month, and Union Omaha released that video where they were going around asking everybody who they would pick between Pedro and Joe, who would you pick between those two?
oof, that's tough.
Yeah.
If
What
I
did was it
had,
Wallace that said that it's like choosing whether to drink water to live or to eat food to live or whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Um, I think for me personally, it's got to be Gallardo because he does a lot of the set pieces as well, and that's where he is really dangerous. Whereas Pedro Dolabella is more of a facilitator slash goal scorer. But I think Joe does a really good job at those services that come into the box from any different angles. So, um, yeah, I think Joe's got my vote on that one.
He gets my vote too. Yeah, totally agree.
So we've got a few live chats here as well.
Let's do it.
Tim with Ranting Blue Penguin Media saying, "Sure, Lucky Opara can sing, but did you know that he can act?" Referring to there was a little bit of simulation going on in that match for sure, on both sides too. I'll even say that. Soup Loop's coming in saying, "I've never understood why players argue with the refs. I know it shows, quote, passion or whatever, but it's not going to change anything except possibly getting another card." I completely agree, Soup.
Wholeheartedly agree.
That is perfectly in line. Tim again saying, "I'm sure per 90 Omaha has the top," talking about yellow cards this season. And Soup Loop's coming in making a very good point. Talk about the games in hand stat. Maybe when Omaha makes up their 2 games, they can catch Tormenta in yellows. Fair. Fair. I'm sure we could look up what the per match yellow card is for Omaha, or you could probably just do the quick maths on it. But yeah, I'm sure they're very close, and I'm sure the law of averages would have Omaha taking that top spot.
Yeah. Yeah, we could try to do the quick math, but I don't want to have too much dead air here. But yeah, it would be pretty close there at the top.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
All
So
right.
yeah, all 3. The fans didn't pick this one. Tim did not pick this one, and Rich did not pick this one. So yet again, another big fat 0 on the board for a score for this one.
0 for 3 right there. Yeah, 0 for 3. Jeez.
It's tough. Tough week. I will say though, I don't envy you or Tim for having to make these picks because none of these picks were like. I think I would have picked in line with you both and the fans on all of these matches. So I would be in the exact same boat. So Tim, don't feel too bad. I would have done the exact same thing.
Well, we can go over to Greenville for another surprise result here. They hosted Chattanooga Red Wolves in front of just over 2,000 there at Furman Stadium, Paladin Stadium, Furman University, Paladin Stadium. Got to get that right.
Yep.
And the promo of that night was Fun Around the World night. And when it was all said and done, Chattanooga walks away with a 3-1 victory.
And we can't even say just Chattanooga gets this victory because Chattanooga was missing half of their lineup for this match.
Yeah.
Like the half of their day 1 starters were not playing in this match, whether due to injury or due to international call-ups. So I don't understand this league. And this is one of those matches where you just look at it and you go, how the hell does anybody pick winners in this league? Because I didn't see this one coming, especially when you saw who was out for Chattanooga. But all credit to them. They not only went in and looked like the better team in this match and won the match, they did it without their quote-unquote star players around the entire field. Obviously, they had a few of their big-name guys, Marsh being one of them, Obviously, probably the biggest one was still on the field, but it takes all 11 guys to get that victory, plus the guys on the bench. So, um, yeah, I mean, just hats off to Chattanooga for getting that one. And for them to get a victory against what was top of the table Greenville at the time is huge, especially when they have as many matches coming at them as they did at this time. This was their first of 3 matches in 7 days. So, this at this point this Chattanooga team who plays tomorrow has got to be tired. But a great way to start it off by beating top of the table Greenville.
So schedule congestion, and they're riddled with injuries. For anybody who put money on this match and put it with Chattanooga winning, how?
Yeah, I'm sure they walked away with a pretty good payday. I mean, I don't know that the odds. I haven't checked the sports books on League One in a while. I think since I found out they had sports books on them,
Yeah.
but I can't imagine there was a whole lot of movement towards the Chattanooga side. So I'm sure you put a fiver down on it. I'm sure you made quite a bit of money on it.
Yeah. And I would love to know their rationale. I mean, I know that they have Mael Malongo and they have Siobhan Marsh, but just like you were saying, look at all the names that they were missing going
Mm-hmm.
into this match and look who they were playing, and they still pulled off this result. Great job by Chattanooga for getting this victory.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, we have to recognize that Greenville also did their part in letting this one go too, because they had a failed penalty kick in the 46th minute when Jamie Smith's kick was saved by Chattanooga's TJ Bush
Mm-hmm.
because he went down the middle of the goal. In the 59th minute, Greenville failed another penalty kick because Evan Lee hit the bar.
Yep.
So they had their opportunity to draw this match at home.
Yeah. And in a 13-minute span, I mean, it was 1-1 in the 23rd minute until you hit halftime, and halftime comes and it is furious for 13 minutes, and then it dies off again. So you have the failed penalty kick in the 46th minute, Siobhan Marsh's goal for Chattanooga in the 54th, Siobhan Marsh's second goal in the 57th minute, and then a failed penalty kick in the 59th minute. And that was it. It just deflates it. I mean, you miss 2 penalties, I think that deflates most teams. So um, I think every team is entitled to a bad match. I think this was a perfectly thought out match for Chattanooga and not Greenville's best attempt at a match. So 2 things working against Greenville in this one, and that doesn't take anything away from Chattanooga's victory. They still went in and did it. So, um, yeah, and I don't think Chattanooga's TJ Bush gets as much love as he probably should. I know I don't give him as much love as he probably deserves, but I mean, to stand in against Jamie Smith, we've seen how he takes penalties. They're not slow, for the most part. He really rockets his shots in on goal. So I know I would be afraid to take a penalty against that guy. So I mean, just to stand in, especially stay right in the center of goal and take it on. Not much more you can ask out of a keeper.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of these missed opportunities from the dot, this is the second time in the regular season that a missed penalty has cost them a draw. Back in week 6, when Greenville was playing Charlotte, Lime McKinnon missed the penalty kick because it was saved by Austin Pack in the 12th minute. So this is not the first time that they have failed to get a result by virtue of, you know, failures at the spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got, like Tim said last week, it's a high probability the shot taker makes it, but uh, if you're a Greenville fan, you got to feel like that's completely flipped. I think in their own heads, it's completely changed. But with goal scorers, all it takes is one going in. So maybe Greenville gets one soon and their confidence builds back up. But that's definitely something I would be working on in training is spot kick placement.
Yeah. Well, especially with all the Jägermeister Cup action. I mean, you got to practice PKs.
You'd think you would be playing, practicing them a lot more now than you ever were.
Yeah.
Now that there's something big attached to it, but or bigger than a single point. I mean, this we're talking a single point in the league standings, not just a single goal. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's something to look at. Something we'll definitely keep track of as the season moves on.
Yep. So we had that bad news of history coming out of Greenville, but we have good news in Chattanooga's history because this is the first time in club history that they scored more than one goal in Greenville.
Yeah, I mean, Chattanooga had something working against them, and they got that bugaboo out of their system. So,
Yeah.
hats off to them.
Hats off to Siobhan Marsh. I mean, 2 goals and an assist to Mael Malongo. I mean, man, he had a hell of a game.
Hell yeah. So we
We
got,
got some chats
yep.
coming in here. Oh my, Tim, Tim at Ransom Blue Penguin coming in saying Gray's Sports Almanac. If you don't understand that reference, that is Back to the Future, people.
Yep, Doc Brown would not let Marty bring that back and use it.
That's a good one. And then a bloody punk coming in saying, missed 2 penalties. Do you really deserve the points? Very good point.
Yep.
I I gotta agree. I think it's a great point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I no problems with that at all.
Yeah. And then follows it up with let their confidence come back after this week. I agree. Yes. Because it's Peach State's Derby week, we do not want Greenville to be confident heading into tomorrow. So, yes, let their confidence
Yep.
grow after tomorrow and
Yeah.
not by virtue of tomorrow, too.
And I think USL I think is billing this weekend as Derby weekend as well.
Yeah. There's
So
3 rivalry matches this weekend.
I love it. I love that there's now this many rivalries in the league. Obviously, none of them can touch the OG and our favorite rivalry of the Henny Derby, but this is the next best thing is having other derbies that can grow into something new. So,
Yep. Well, going into the predictions, this is the 4th straight match where nobody got it right. Fans, Tim, myself, we all had Greenville winning this match. So, yeah, there it is. And then fast forward to Wednesday night, which was when we could have recorded this one, but we knew that if we were, we'd both have the match on another screen and we constantly looking over to the screen trying to figure out what was just happening. Good thing we didn't because this one had 7 goals.
yeah. So this was a rescheduled match due to Tim, plug your ears, ongoing upgrades to the playing surface and I forget who the announcer was, but definitely open your ears for this one. CHI Memorial Stadium, not Chai Memorial Stadium.
Oh.
So, uh, again, in the 15th minute, another name you're hearing over and over again, Pedro Dolabella scores the first goal to put Omaha up. 3 minutes later, in the 18th minute, Declan Waters puts one to the roof of the net. There was no chance Rashid knew was getting that perfectly placed ball to tie the match up. Um, later in the 29th minute, Omaha's own Blake Malone puts a header into the back of the net. Good to see Blake get a goal, especially being from Omaha. That one strikes really well into any Omaha fan's heart. The 32nd minute, so Omaha was just a fury here to balloon the lead to 3-1. Joe Gallardo on a free kick, sends the ball damn near on the ground the entire way through. TJ Bush, I was singing your praises earlier. Not your best work on that one. I must have gotten lost in the shuffle of guys. I don't know how it didn't touch somebody's foot on the way through, but a goal there. In the 89th minute, Chattanooga making it interesting, and definitely being an Omaha fan, making me wince a little bit, scoring. Siobhan Marsh scores, makes it 2-3. Union Omaha still has the advantage. But then what Omaha coach Dominic Casciato calls the goal of the season, already calling a shot. He doesn't know how it would be any better, how it can get any better. But Lagos Kunga, you guys have heard me sing his praise time in and time out on here. I mean, the dude is a stud, takes on two defenders and slots the ball home. A beautiful goal, and assisted by Pedro Dolabello. So Pedro getting on again. And if that wasn't a dagger enough, in the 90th +7, Adam Almash scores to make it 5-2, and your final score for Union Omaha, getting the victory, coming back after defeat at home versus Northern Colorado. Claws their way to the top of the table. Is tied with less games played, 2 games in hand, I believe, at this point. So, yeah, and Ranting Blue Penguin coming in saying Adam's first pro goal, very true. The Barca Academy product. I mean, this one, I will say, was very, very, very chippy. I don't know how there was not more cards in this one. And that's even saying that, knowing full well there was a lot of cards. Hell, there was even 2 red cards on the Chattanooga bench. I asked League One on Twitter if this is the first time that's ever happened. They have not responded back. So who knows? I'm just going to say it was.
And I think with 5 goals, that's the most that Union Omaha's ever scored in a single match. Is that correct?
Regular season.
Regular season, yes.
They did beat FC Tucson 6-1 in the 2021 playoffs.
That's true. Yeah.
So we do have some comments here in the live chat. Tim Ranty Blue Penguin saying that announcer was shitty even by League One standards. So many wrong stats and comments. Like, the chat only had 11% possession. Yeah, there was a lot of mispronunciations. I did put that out there, and I did put it out there saying, knowing full well that I'm one of the worst offenders in the pronunciation game. But like I said on Twitter, I don't get a weekly guide that has the player saying their own name for you in my stuff. So it is what it is.
Yeah, FOTMob has Chattanooga sitting at an average possession rate of 45.8% this season.
Yeah.
So maybe they meant that they were sitting in 11th with their average possession, but certainly
Yeah.
not 11%.
Yeah, I think I mean it. I don't think you lose a match. Well, I think you lose every match with 11% possession, but I don't think you score 2 goals on 11% possession.
Yeah.
But I mean, so a step back for Chattanooga in this one. They expended a lot of energy in this match, so I know that that's probably going to hurt come the matches tomorrow. But um, on the other side of the scale here, Union Omaha doesn't play again until Thursday, so they have quite a bit of time to cool off, honestly. So I know Omaha has Spokane this weekend or this upcoming week, so maybe it's a cooling off period, and maybe this is a wake up call for Chattanooga, saying, okay, you beat the top of the table team, you lost to the top of the table team. Let's take these two and meet somewhere in the middle and figure this out. Because the highs that were brought in on the Greenville win were taken right back down with the loss to Omaha. So, and we'll say too, the fans did pick this one. So, not so great in the middle. We started off with victories for the predictions, not so hot in the middle, but we're going to sandwich it with a victory for the fans in this one. So, congrats to you guys for picking that one.
Hey, you got to finish strong. And hey, there's even good news now because we can see the regular season standings on Google.
I love it.
Yeah.
It is great.
And then looking at the scoreboard, let's see. The fans were 2-4.
Fans taking the W this week.
Yeah. And then I was 1-3, and Tim was 1-4. So even though you took the week off from predictions, you're still on top with a healthy lead too. So congratulations. You had a bye week.
Yeah. I mean, this would have been significantly worse for me if I would have picked this week. So I'm thankful I took the week off, but no, I mean we're all fairly close. I mean, me, you, and the fans are all sitting at just about 500. You're sitting perfectly at 500.
Yeah.
The fans are just under 500, and I'm just over 500. So, I mean, that's how it goes in League One. If you can predict League One, if you predict it perfectly, give me the lottery numbers, because that's the only way you're picking every single match correctly.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we can jump into Jägermeister Cup, and we got to go quick here because we got about just under 15 minutes to go left in the show. So we have 4 matches on Saturday. We have 1 match on Sunday, and we have 1 match on Thursday. 2 of these matches are followed by unified series.
Yes, so
And
jazzed.
as we already said earlier in the show, we have 3 rivalry matches this week. Every single match is going to be on ESPN Plus. So there's no doubt about what channel we're going to be looking at here. So we can jump straight into this stuff. And we have a rivalry match right off the bat. We have Battle for the Barrel. One Knox hosting Lexington Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. This one's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 2 teams here that definitely need a W. I mean, it's Jägermeister Cup, right? So it's a little bit different. The odds are a little bit more relaxed, because I think there are some teams that are taking this significantly more seriously than other teams. But it's a derby match. You gotta get the derby W. So this match, you have 2 teams on the opposite ends of the Central Group standings. You got Lexington up on top and Knoxville down at the bottom of the Central Group. So this is going to be a tough one, especially when you consider the all-time record Knoxville has 3 wins and 1 draw. Lexington has never won against Lexington, or against Knoxville, excuse me. And the last time these two teams played was in week 3 of the regular season, where Knoxville took down Lexington 2-0.
Yep. Lexington is undefeated in the Jägermeister Cup. They have 2 wins and 1 draw, and even in that draw, they remain victorious by virtue of the penalty kicks. One Knox has 1 win and 2 losses in the Jägermeister Cup. But I was going to say something. Lexington has the goal advantage here with 7 goals scored in the Jägermeister Cup, whereas One Knox only has 2 goals scored in the Jägermeister Cup.
Yeah.
So there's some streaks on the line here. There's some history that could be made, and it's a derby. I mean, come on, this is going to be a great match.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
So, what are you thinking?
This is one of those where one team looks like they're taking the cup a little bit more seriously. I like Lexington in this one. I think Lexington finally beats Knoxville, and I think they beat them handily. I'm going to go with 2-0.
Nice. I am going to go with Lexington as well. I'm going to say 1-0.
It's
I
hard
agree
to
with you,
argue
though.
with. Hard to argue with a team that's sitting on top of a group, playing
Yeah,
a team on the bottom of the group.
yeah. And Angelo Kelly is still out for One Knox, isn't he?
I
So
believe
that's a
so.
huge facilitator and goal scorer for them.
Mm-hmm.
So Lexington has some momentum behind them. One Knox is cooling off a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, I think we have the right rationale behind our prediction. Now we just hope that it comes to fruition for our prediction, for the sake of our predictions. How about that?
I just want to see a good match.
Yeah,
I don't. Yes, I would love my predictions every week to be correct, but I just want to see the best match possible, and I think that one is a sneaky good pick for one of the better matches this week.
yep. So we go from One Knox hosting a match. We go over to Richmond, who is hosting Charlotte on Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. This is going to be Military Appreciation Night presented by Tech for Troops. And these two have a long history of facing off against each other. This goes back to, I think, like 2015 or something like that.
Yeah, they've been playing each other for quite a while. In this 19 matchups is what they've played. Richmond has 4 wins. They've drawn 7 times, and Charlotte has won 8 times. But they have not played in almost a full calendar year. The last time they played was week 18 of 2023, which was July 15th, and it came out as a draw. 2-2. So the last 5 for Richmond has been 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. Charlotte's last 5 has been 1 win, 2 draws, 2 losses. So, a little bit of intrigue and interest in here. I mean, you also have these two are sitting right next to each other in the East Group standings, under Greenville and above Tormenta. You have Richmond in second place of the East Group and Charlotte in third place.
And Richmond they're only separated by a single goal for goals scored, too.
Yeah,
Richmond with 3 goals, Charlotte with 4.
yep, but separated on 2 points in the table. So,
Yeah.
ooh, this is going to be a tough one. I think on paper, a lot of the stuff says Charlotte should win, but I'm not buying it. I like Richmond in this one. I think Richmond takes it, but I think they do it in penalties. I think they end the match drawn. I'm going to say 1-1, but Richmond takes it in penalties. I'm not going to go all the way and say goalkeeper goals again, but um, yeah, I'll just say regular PKs in this one.
I like your prediction with Richmond. I don't know if they're going to go to PKs, but I think that's a good choice, though. I could easily see this going past 90 and going into PKs. I am going to go Rich. Oh, but Richmond doesn't have nil Vinyals.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
I'm not gonna lie, I was leaning Richmond winning in regular time, and then I remembered that.
dang it. So with Richmond missing, I mean, with nil Vinyals and Adrian Billhart, even with Richmond's injuries, those two have been incredibly productive for Richmond this season. But if you take away Novenules, but like Adrian Billhart's having a really good season too.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlotte, um, and they just came off that. What do we say that they? Oh, that's right. They drew us. I'm gonna go Charlotte on this one. I'm gonna go Charlotte 1-0. I think it's man. I
Losing,
would have gone with Richmond, but then remembering that Nil Vinyals is out, I mean that swings things for me.
yeah,
It does.
yeah, and Tim saying, and on Vinyls not being available, I still think it's crap that cards and suspensions carry over between the competitions, but other stats don't.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Tim. I think if it's a competition, it should be kept in the competition. But I mean, this is a learning point for the league. This is a trial run, so we'll kind of see. So the next match that we have on tap is Chattanooga versus Madison, and we're really up on the clock. Chattanooga and Madison, Marvel Heroes night for this one. These two teams have matched up 13 times, with Chattanooga actually having 4 wins, 6 draws, and to Madison's 3 wins. So Chattanooga has the advantage here in this one in the all-time record. The last 5, however, Chattanooga 2 wins, 0 draws, 3 losses. As we talked about earlier, forward Madison undefeated in their last 5. This one to me, Chattanooga's playing their 3rd match in a week, an actual regular week. They're coming up against one of the better teams in the league. I like Madison in regular time, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close. I think Madison takes them 3-0.
I'll take Madison. I'll say 3-1. But I agree with you. I don't think this one's gonna be close.
Not a whole lot in the tank after that. After that Omaha match.
Yeah. Moving on to our next rivalry match, we have Northern Colorado hosting Central Valley Fuego. Obviously, this is the Fire and Ice Cup. I think this is the first time that they've played this season. Could
I
be wrong.
don't remember.
But all-time record, they've had 6 matchups. Northern Colorado having 5 wins and Central Valley having the lone win on their side. They have 0 draws between them in these 6 matchups. Northern Colorado in their last 5, they have 2 wins, 3 draws, and 0 losses. So they are undefeated in their last 5. On the flip side, Central Valley Fuego entering this match winless in their last 5 with 3 draws and 2 losses.
Yeah. For me, this one, Central Valley still has yet to figure themselves out. Northern Colorado seems to have figured themselves out at least a little bit. I like Northern Colorado in this one, 2-0.
Northern Colorado 2-0. I'm gonna go Northern Colorado 3-0. And then we
So
can go into Sunday's match. We only have one on Sunday, and that's Tormenta hosting Greenville. 7:30 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. Peach State's Derby. And this is the start of matches that we're going to be seeing this week that are followed by unified series matches. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Yep. Brian
so
pointing to
excited.
the right scarf there. These two sides have 20 matchups between them. Tormenta
Oof.
with 9 wins, Greenville with 8, and 3 draws between the two. In their last 5, Tormenta has 1 win, 1 draw, and 3 losses. Greenville only slightly better than that with 2 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses.
Hmm. Yeah, this will be first up. I mean, I want to say this is Unified Series coming back. One of my favorite times a year. So I'm hoping everybody sticks around and gives the support to the athletes playing in that one afterwards. And if you haven't already, make sure that you do because it is a ton of fun. Like these unified players are really good, and it's always a fun time to watch. So make sure you stick around for that for sure. As far as the match goes, I like a lot of things about both of these teams. And I think Greenville has been bitten by a team they feel like they should have beaten already once this week. But I think those penalties haunt them. And I think Tormenta wins in penalties. So I think give me 2-2 in regular time, but Tormenta takes it in penalties.
Oh, man. That's exciting stuff right there. That's cool. I like that. Obviously, I can't throw a prediction in here, but I really like yours. I'll take it.
Understandably so, yeah.
Yeah. So on Thursday, we can go to another match that pertains, closer to your neck of the woods. We have Union Omaha hosting Spokane Velocity, 8 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff on Thursday night. This is going to be Pride Night and Thrifty Thursday at Warner Park. Obviously, as we mentioned with the Unified Series in the prior match, this one also has a Unified Series match following the League One or the Jägermeister Cup match.
Hmm.
These two teams have only faced each other once, and it was earlier this season, and Spokane came out with a 3-2 victory. In their last 5, Union Omaha is 2-1-2 with 2 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. Spokane, a little bit better with 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. So what are we thinking, Brian?
This one, the last time Spokane really drew Omaha out wide and was able to use their, I'm not going to say full size pitch, but their larger pitch to outmaneuver Union Omaha. This time being at Warner Park, they're not going to be able to do that. I think Union Omaha has kind of hit their stride. So I like Omaha in regular time 2-0.
Okay.
I know I said something different on the show, but I'm changing it now after watching a little bit more tape today on Spokane.
Ooh, okay. What'd you say on your show?
I believe I said 3-1.
3-1. Okay. I am going to go Union Omaha 2-1. I think it'll be close. I think we've seen plenty of close affairs from Spokane. I don't think this one is going to be another notch in that repetition.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind Spokane is going to come to play.
Yeah. Well, looking over at the live chat, we don't have anything over there. Let me look over at Twitter to see if we have anything over there as well. Looks like we are in the clear for questions to consider here in the live show. So, you got anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, Tim asking in the live chat, what kit is that? And this is the Diaza kit, the Cultures United. This one I grabbed it, and I mean it's obviously Diaza makes great stuff. This is one of my favorite kits from them as well. This is not a Pride kit. This is a Hispanic Heritage kit for Cultures United FC. So um, yeah, but I mean it's pretty. It's one of my favorite looking kits I've seen. I also, I love the bold colors and then the sleeves as well. I like the designs on the sleeves. So, um, yeah, I think I've worn it a couple of times on the show, but I have fixed my posture just a little bit. So you're probably seeing more of the jersey this time.
But it's still fitting with the rainbow and the pride and all that kind of stuff too. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's an appropriate kit to wear today.
it works out, and the name of the club as well, Cultures FC, just
Hmm.
obviously stands for inclusivity, obviously for cultures, but not only cultures, but everything. So that's
Yeah,
something that club stands for as well. So
yeah.
perfect fit.
And our buddy Chris Kaufman over at you can find him on Twitter at Chris_Kaufman Kofman. He was the founder of USL Argentina on Twitter, so you can follow him over there as well. But he's also working over with Diaza, so he's constantly trying to promote Diaza with any sort of events and kits and all that kind of stuff. And we were lucky enough to get our hands on those Hispanic Heritage kits, and man, they are nice.
Yeah, the material fits really well as well. Still, it's been through quite a few washes. Anybody that knows me knows I'm really hard on white shirts, kits, anything like that. So it's been through a ton of washes and it's held up perfect. So
Yeah.
I ain't mad at it. That's for sure.
Yeah, if you are interested in checking out the Hispanic Heritage Kit as well as any of the other kits that they have on their website, go to diaza.com, diaza.com. There's some cool kits on there. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I when we first talked to him about it, it I spent quite a bit of time just looking over what they have, and like some other kit distributors, they put a lot of time and effort into making their stuff look stand out amongst the crowd. So it's not your traditional Nike or Adidas kits that kind of fit the random mold that you copy and paste. This kit is striped like this, and you throw your logo in, and that's it. You know, these are actually thought a little bit further through, and you get a little bit more creative freedom with them too, I believe. So
Yep. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of League One on the Rocks. My name is Rich. You can find me on Twitter at I'm Rich, but I'm not. And that is Brian. You can find him on Twitter at Mediocre Ace. You can also check out his new podcast, Owl In.
perfect. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.